But anyways, let's jump into it today. 20 minutes or less, same rules apply. We'll try to get some new and or cool features we're using in M365. We do it monthly.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing Reid's screen there, Brittany, in the background. If anybody has any questions along the way, please feel free to put them in the Q&A or chat, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. But Reid, let's start off. I think we
Cool.
want to start today about something you've been very excited and messaging me at 5 in the morning and 12 o'clock at night every day about Microsoft Copilot Cowork.
Yeah. So there's been uh, a lot of press about Anthropic Claude Cowork and Anthropic Claude Code and chat, and Microsoft is bringing the same technology to Copilot. So I put together this little graphic here that kind of talks about what Cowork is. And think of it kind of like an assistant that works alongside you. So an AI tool that works alongside you that can perform tasks independent of your interaction with a chat window. So when we're using Copilot today, I'm typing in a prompt, I'm waiting for a response, I'm kind of sitting there waiting for it. And a lot of our interaction, maybe except for when we're using Researcher Agent, which we've talked about before, is just me sitting there waiting. So what Cowork can do is Cowork can perform more complex tasks, maybe collecting information from different places, synthesizing it into a summary document, into a PowerPoint presentation, into a task list. It can interact with my email. It can interact with Excel. It's a platform. It's early. It's available under Microsoft's Frontier program, which you need to have a Copilot license. So that $30 a month license that we've talked about in the past, you need to have that. And you have to have the Frontier program turned on. So your IT admin has to go into the admin portal and turn it on. But then you have this capability, and we should do an entirely separate session just on how this will work. But I wanted to kind of show some information there. This next slide shows kind of some of the examples of things that you could do using Cowork. And I actually built these graphics using Google. So, I mean, we're using lots of different AI tools
Well,
day to
I was
day.
actually going to ask that question, Reid. When you say you were using Google, what do you mean by you were using Google?
So I was using Google's NotebookLM AI tool. And the reason I chose that tool is it has a great capability of collecting YouTube videos where there's all these people that are diving into all these tools and they're making videos about them. So I collected a bunch of videos, I fed it into NotebookLM, and I said, create an infographic that describes the different use cases that people are using Microsoft Copilot Cowork for. So I just used a non-Microsoft product to do it. So
So you have two more slides there. Are they for the next thing we wanted to talk about, or are
yeah,
they still?
they're for the
Yeah,
next
so
topic.
we'll talk in more depth about the Copilot Cowork on one of our Copilot coming up.
Mhm.
But the next thing we want to talk about that's M365 related is the E7 license, which is somewhat exciting.
Yeah, so this is interesting. Microsoft has historically sold lots of different ad hoc licenses, and they're bundling them together into different suites. So we saw Business Premium included desktop applications and some security components and cloud storage and so on. Microsoft is creating this Frontier Worker Suite, which they're calling E7. This will be available in May, so it's not available yet, but it's coming out soon. And you'll see that it combines a lot of different things. It combines Enterprise 5 or E5, which is really their top tier enterprise license. It includes Copilot, so that $30 a month license is included. It includes Agent 365, which is licensing for agents in your environment and giving them an identity and giving them tools. We could have an entirely separate webinar just on that. But it's interesting because this new offer is just under $100 a month per user, which is a lot. There's a lot of value there, but when I look at the different components that are included, there's a lot of things that need to be configured in your environment to make this useful. And a lot of these things that need to be configured are very valuable, very important when you talk about how you're using AI in your organization, particularly from a governance and monitoring and management standpoint. So wanted to show this because this is coming out soon, and we'll be talking to our clients about it because we have a number of clients that are on E5. They're also using Copilot, and they could get some benefit from Entra Suite as well as Agent 365. So this stuff is coming, and just wanted to give kind of a preview.
Fantastic. So let's jump into some of the short demos you're known for. You're well known in the industry for your little short demos. Some of the new things that have come out in the last month or so in M365. I think forward to multiple messages.
Yeah, some of this stuff is fairly new, not necessarily revolutionary, but here I've got a chat with you, Gar. We talk a lot. Here's some messages at 6:30 a.m. I think what you were talking about. You can forward multiple messages. So this is maybe a little known feature that became available. If I'm looking at a chat window here and I hover over someone's message, I get these three little dots for more options. When I click on that, now I have a forward multiple messages. When I select multiple messages, I get a bunch of check boxes. And now I can check the messages that I want to forward, click next, and now there's my messages right there. So rather than just one at a time where you're performing this action 5 different times to forward messages, maybe into a team, or maybe into another group chat that you have, you can select multiple messages at once. So that's helpful.
So the part that's new is you could always forward messages, but now you can do multiple messages at once.
Yeah. Yeah. The one that was there before is just forward this message. You get one pop-up. You can add some context for it, but now you can forward multiple messages. So that's kind of cool.
Yep. So moving on, the next cool thing that I think we wanted to show is the powered search box, or what's it called? KeyQL or
Yeah, so Microsoft has this. I got to move some of my little windows around here because it's covering my screen. Microsoft has this language called key query language. And I actually have a little slide that I want to show first just to set some context here. So this allows you to type some specific commands into a search box, and those commands will help you filter what you're searching for in an organized way. So I'm a huge proponent of going to the top of your Teams window and just searching for anything. You can search for files, you can search for emails, you can search for meetings and chats. This helps you quickly filter that down. So for example, if I bring my Teams window back here, I can say from Gar, and now it's going to filter all of my search responses from Gar. I can say in oops, I got to type it right. I can say in marketing. So now it's going to filter all messages from you only in the marketing team. If I was in Outlook, I could say has attachment, but it doesn't work in Teams. But the ability to filter your searching is really helpful. I've talked about in the past, I used to have all of these intricate folders and organizational structure, and I thought, why am I overcomplicating my life? I can just search. I Google, I ChatGPT things, I Copilot things. I'll just search and I don't have to worry about a complicated folder structure. So learning that structure behind the key query language is helpful. So type is a message or is unread, has an attachment, filtering on dates, pretty useful.
So somebody asked a question like, is there a way, Reid, to find what those commands are, the parameters are?
Yeah, Microsoft has some help guides that explain. I took a snip from one of them. So maybe after this webinar, we can include some of that content when we post this. Yeah, but Microsoft Learn has pages that list that information. Yep.
All right, so two more that we want to show. One's a sort of a bonus. It's helpful, but the next one is custom meeting summaries. And I
Yeah.
believe it requires a Copilot license, but let me know if that's true.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. So this is really helpful. I'm gonna make this fill my screen. So we've gotten in the habit at Teal of recording all of our meetings. We record our meetings so that we can use the Copilot AI to summarize and pull out key details and help us with our workflow. So when I'm in Teams and I'm looking at a meeting recap, I get my AI summary. And this is helpful, but this is not necessarily something that I would want to forward to a client. If this was a client meeting, I would click this little copy button. I might paste it into an email, and then I would do a bunch of cleanup work, and that's a
Right.
lot of work. Microsoft added a custom summary button where you can create your own templates that format your meeting summary however you want. So this is the same as if I was typing in a prompt to do something with my meeting transcript, but now it's kind of built in, so it's easier to get to. So I've created a simple meeting summary. This follows a LinkedIn post I made the other day where we're talking about current state, topics discussed, and next steps, a simple type meeting summary. So I created a template that has my little prompt here, and it's simple. Provide a one paragraph current state, summarize the topics discussed, provide a tight list of next steps. So now this simple template gives me this output down here. And this is much more copy and paste ready to put into an email if I'm meeting with a client or we're meeting with a prospect or something like that. Microsoft has some built-in ones. They've got executive report. Let it run here. I guess it
So,
sometimes.
so the executive report is one that you didn't build. It's just built in. Can you edit the executive report?
You can't. No, it doesn't have that option there. Speaker summary is another one. So the executive report is similar to the AI summary, just from as I read that now. Speaker summary gives you a breakdown of kind of who said what, but this is really helpful. So you can create multiple templates that have multiple use cases for what you want to do with your meeting summaries.
Yeah, I mean, my business use case for this is like a first time meeting with a prospective client.
Mhm.
And I have things built out like, pricing,
Mhm.
number of users, barriers, why are they looking? It's a little bit more formalized than that, but that way when I click that template, that's what I actually paste into HubSpot,
Yep.
which is our CRM for sales and marketing.
Yep.
And it works great. So everybody else that goes into my HubSpot record after sees the same format. And in fact, I have another tool that does that natively for
Mhm.
sales for meeting recording. But that's awesome. That's a really cool one. That's a new feature. We're sort of running out of time here, but last but not least, we'll call it a little bonus tip. It's something that I use a lot because I have four monitors and I have a lot of stuff open. But it's pinning teams to the front.
Yeah. Oops, I hit the wrong button there. Let me turn my video back on. There we go. So this one kind of caught me by surprise. I'm going to move this over here. Okay. So I'm back in my Teams window. This caught me by surprise. It like snuck up on me. I didn't realize it was there. I only have 2 monitors. I don't have 4. Maybe one day I'll have 4 monitors. But in the upper right-hand corner, you can click on the settings button and pin window to top. Simple, but helpful. So if I've got my browser window, I can drag this over. I've got my Teams window here, drag this. So I've got my browser, but it's kind of hiding behind my Teams window now because I've pinned Teams to the top. So this is useful if you're running a webinar or you want to see different things at once. You always want to keep that chat window open. You can resize your screen, your windows a little bit, and turn on that pin to top, and it's always on top. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's a newer feature. I mean, that wasn't there till, I mean, it's in the last month, right?
Yeah, it's pretty recent. Yep. Yep.
All right, well, that's it for today. I'll just foreshadow some upcoming things for us. Reid's been doing just a ton of research with Claude and ChatGPT and Copilot Cowork and Claude Cowork. So some of the upcoming every month, we do them every other week, are going to be focused on some non-Microsoft tools in the next coming weeks, as well as a lot on the Copilot Cowork as that's released. But anyways, thanks for joining, Reid. Thanks for sharing your expertise again. You're a true visionary, and look forward. If you don't follow Reid on LinkedIn, you should. He's always putting up nifty little tricks that are actually shorter than 20 minutes. We try to keep these to 20 minutes, but the ones he puts on LinkedIn are like sometimes 30 seconds, and we get a lot out of them. So thanks for joining, Reid. We'll see you next time. And marketing will follow up with an email to the attendees with the recording.
Thank you very much.